And we're going to tell you what you can expect from this week's From Earnings to China still ahead. But first, the battle. It's between capitalism and socialism. It remains the spotlight as Democrat socialists like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are calling for things like Medicare for all, universal job guarantees, and, well, now the city of Stockton, California, handing out $500 a month to 100 residents in a new experiment to test the impact of universal basic income. Now, a similar trial was held in Finland recently. Their residents received free money. Essentially, so far, it seems like they were no better or worse off than those who did not get this so-called free money. So many are wondering, is this really the solution? Let's bring in economist Ben Stein. Ben, you're out there in California. Stockton was once dubbed the foreclosure capital of America, and now they're giving away money.
I don't get it. It's not free money. The money's coming from somewhere. It's coming from the taxpayers. It's coming from you and I, from you and me. It's coming from people who are writing out checks to the government for their taxes. It's not free money. And yes, I approve of the giving. The pictures you were showing made it look like the money was going to homeless people, and that's fine with me. I don't want any homeless people in America at all, period. But I don't want government sticking its big bureaucratic mess into everybody's life. We do not want the government saying, look, you get money and you don't get money, you don't get money and you do get money. This is just another way of government controlling people's lives. I don't like it. That's what Ms. Ocasio-Cortez is all about. It's about government controlling people's lives. It's the worst idea in the history of America.
But Ben, this is not about just helping a few homeless people. And this is about, hey, if you don't want to work, you don't have to work. But you still deserve a quote-unquote income. And this is not just AOC. You have presidential candidates, Kamala Harris, for instance. She's looking into something like this. I mean, they're not doing these programs for altruistic reasons. These are tests so that they can say, hey, it works. So they can go into 2020 and say, we tried this in Stockton and it works. I mean, this could be part of America. What impact would that have on our economy?
It would have a big impact because if people are not motivated to work, we're not going to get a very good labor force. If people have to be motivated to work in order to put in a day's work, in order to get an education so that they'll be productive people. We have to have Americans who are willing to put in perspiration, blood, toil, tears, sweat. And we've got to have an America that actually works in order for it to be a successful America. And there have to be people out there who are willing to do that. And if we say to people, look, you don't have to work, then we're going to have a lot of people like my son who just say, well, I have a well-to-do old dad, and he's going to take care of me, and nobody else has to take care of me. I don't have to take care of myself. And it's going to be an America that is the ultimate in welfare state dependency. We don't want it. We want people to be provided against homelessness. I 100% approve of any kind of program Stockton wants to have, which takes people off the streets. But just to give money at random, to throw money out of a helicopter, no thank you.
Is there a role for businesses to thwart all of this? In other words, as you were describing the blood, sweat, tears, that goes into working and the pride of earning a living, I think of maybe fast food workers who are saying, hey, I'm doing that already, and I'm making $10 an hour, and I just simply can't survive on that, and maybe being dissuaded from the American dream.
I think there's a role here, and I hate to say this because it's going to make me expelled from the Republican Party, but I think there's a role here for having a higher minimum wage. I think the minimum wage, which is nowhere near what people need to live on, is not a good idea. A minimum wage, which is at least approaches what people need to live on, is a very good idea. I don't like the idea of saying to people, look, we're only going to pay you $10 an hour because it's a beginning job. It's going to be an ending job. It's going to be a job where they just get discouraged and become drug dealers or do something else criminal. It's not a good idea. We want people to work, get paid a decent wage for it, and not to be under fire all the time. You have that word under fire on the screen, and that's what's making me think. They're under the fire of poverty, fear, a very disagreeable way of life unless they get paid a decent wage. We can afford to pay more for our Big Macs. I think you like Big Macs too, like me. You're not going to afford to pay more for our Big Macs and our cheeseburgers.
Just a hunch. Ben, I'm getting to wrap.
We can afford to pay more for our Big Macs and cheeseburgers.
I'm getting to wrap, but I do have to ask, because you're a historian as well. And what worries me is when people sit back with a fat cigar and say, Americans will never do that. Americans will never embrace this kind of socialism. Are some of the folks who are some people are too confident about this idea not spreading to the point where it could actually one day influence or tell us, who put someone in the White House who believes in it?
I think it could absolutely be that influential. There are an awful lot of people out there who don't want to work, and there are an awful lot of people out there who are just plain lazy, and there are an awful lot of people out there who are being brainwashed to believe that the government owes them a living, and that people like you and me owe them a living. And in a way, we do owe them help, but we don't owe them a living on the scale that we live.
Ben Stein, always great. It's been too long. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, sir.
President Trump set to address the Venezuela